Hello, my name is Guilherme and I help engineers to be high performing project managers, even if you're starting now and even if you do not have experience, even if you're not working with project management right now. Today, I'm going to talk about a question that I get quite often. Maybe every week I get the same question. And this question is uh, I'm not working, I want to work with project management. Um, how can I start to work with project management? And usually there is also associated question with that. Do I need a certification? But I do not have, or also a comment, but I do not have any experience. Well, something that I'm going to tell you. You do not need a certification to start to work with project management. Most of people out there, that include myself and most of people I've known in my professional life in more than 13 years working with project management in different places around the world. Most people they did not have a certification when they start to work with project management. And I can tell you, like some certifications like the project management professional from PMI, that's the most known certification around the world. To go for the certification, you need to have 3 years of working experience to qualify to take the exam. So, 3 years of experience with project management. So, PMP it's not a starting certification. If you want to take a PMP certification to start work with project management, that will never work. And of course, there are other certifications for entry level position. But what's my view on that? In general, those entry-level certifications, they do not add a lot of value for you. Of course, depending what you are going to do. For example, if you want to work with Scrum and you want to be a Scrum Master, having the PSM Professional Scrum Master certification, it helps. It's not there's no requirement there to have to take this certification. That's a good thing. I'm not going to lie about that. But your first step into project management should not be taking a certification. Like the first thing that you need to do is start learning project management. Why? Because you need to start to learn. You need to start somewhere. And the next step, what you need to do, start to look for entry level positions to work with project management. And of course, I understand because I talk with a lot of people. For example, if you are working as a lead design engineer for more than 10 years, then of course you do not need to restart your career. You can use and you should use that for everyone. All the experience that you have there, all your background, all the things that you've done in your life, worked on, studied, and you should use all those transferable skills and experience that you developed there and you should leverage that to help you to get a project management position. But again, uh, you should not hold yourself because of having no experience. So you should start to learn it. You should start to look for entry level positions. Entry level positions, they do not require project management experience. That's why it's an entry level position. They do not require to have your certification. Usually, what they are looking for in an entry level position. I've interviewed a lot of people already in my life, and for the times I was hiring, and I hired even junior project managers. What I was looking for, I was not looking for project management experience. I was not looking for project management certifications. What I was looking for, if the person has the soft skills required to execute a job as a project manager. Like in part of the sort of soft skills I've already mentioned more than once, but what I think you need to have there. First one is being proactive, making sure that you have a learning mindset. This is far more important than the hard skills. Why I was looking for those things to hire someone in an entry level position, and I hired interns like junior engineers to work as planners for my project, and I hired junior project managers because if I'm hiring someone that's basically a lot of times just out from the university, or maybe it's not working the area what I'm looking for. Well, I if it's an entry level position, I already know that the person is not very experienced and cannot manage $100 million projects, and this person will need guidance. If I'm hiring an entry level position, a junior position, that's what I'm already expecting, that I need to mentor this person, that I'm going to need to coach them, that I need to teach them a lot of stuff so they can build on and grow into the position and what I would like to go for those people to go next. What I'm looking for, if it's they have the right attitude, they have the right mindset, they can get themselves organized. And that's what our people companies are working on, because train hard skills like how to manage a timeline, cost management, those are much easier than train soft skills. And I can tell you, it's much more difficult to find someone that have initiative, that will be proactive and will step it up and try to do something, than someone that I say, I know what's a critical path. Well, I can explain what's a critical path. That's not a problem. But in getting these people to have this initiative, it's much more difficult, because that starts with the mindset of the person. And even though that's something that can be learned, that's I talk about, of course, mindset also in my project management training, because for me it's the first step that you need to go there. But the mindset, if the people don't want to develop it, and you are going to find a lot of people, they do not have this learning mindset, they already have a closed mind there, then that the hard skills will not happen. Because if you want to develop, for example, leadership skills, what you're going to need: self-reflection, feedback, and practice. And like, if you don't have this mindset, this right mindset, you are not going to have the self-reflection. You are not going to be open for feedback. So those are very important things for a position. That's why when they are looking for entry level positions, they are not looking for experience. They are going to have, depending on the type of position, some basic job requirements there, which usually can go for example, for construction. I want someone that has a civil engineering degree, or I want someone that's proactive and willing to learn. You can just look for the positions, but you do not need experience to start working with project management. To have experience working with project management, you need to start working with project management, for God's sake. And I'm saying that because I get this question quite often, but I do not have experience. That's fine. When I started, I did not have experience. I did not have certification. I did not have even a degree because I started work as an intern. What you need is start to learn project management. That's important, because if you want to work with that, start to study, and then start to look for entry level positions, start to apply. But needs to be an entry level position if you do not have any experience. If you are starting your career right now, or if you are just graduated, you are 6 months, 1 year outside of an university, that's normal that you do not have experience. But what I see, it's a lot of people, they say, but I've seen a job requirement that there's a prerequisite there. There's a requirement there. Of course, if you look for a senior project manager position, you're going to find a lot of requirements there. If you look for a senior project manager position, you're going to very likely you're going to see, I want someone with around 10 years of working experience managing projects. I work someone that has experience leading teams. I want someone that has a certification, and depending on the position, can have much more stuff there. It can be I want someone with a engineering degree. I want someone with an MBA. I want someone with a Lean Six Sigma certification. I want someone that has experience in, for example, in automotive business or developing a project with managing multi-million dollar projects. You are going to find a lot of stuff, but that means that you are looking in the wrong place. And I've get also this question, everyone is requiring a PMP. That's not true. And I'm saying that because I look for job descriptions. Basically, I try to do it. I take a look on LinkedIn at least one or two per day. And I see, of course, everything. There's a lot of difference there. I look for a senior project manager. I look for a junior project manager, project coordinator, and so on. But the entry level positions, they do not have this requirement of experience. They might require some, I've seen some entry level positions they are requiring someone that has, and if they're saying, they say that they do not have a minimum requirement like amount of years. I have someone that have have experience with projects, but what experience? If you have an experience of 1 or 2 months, if you have an internship, that's something that you can do. But that's why it's so important that you start to look for those positions and you start applying, because the only way you can get what you can get a job is if you apply. And don't keep putting uh, blocks in your own mind that they're not there. You don't need a certification, you don't need experience. I'm saying that you're going to apply for the first position, you're going to get it. No, I don't know. It might be that you need to apply for several positions that you before you get it. That's normal. That already happened with me in the past. It might be that you are going to apply for one position, you're going to get a job. That's normal. That also already happened with me in the past. But what's important, while you are sitting there and waiting, say, no, I need to study, I need to go for a certification, you are finding excuses why you should not do it. And that's not going to take you anywhere. Again, that's why it's important to have the right mindset. So, and you can also be in a trap because I've seen people that say, I need a certification. Then they go for one certification. They say, but I need more certification. And I've seen people with several certifications and they cannot find a job as a project manager because they simply don't have an experience. And at some point, some certifications create a problem for them because when people look to their CV, even without having experience, people think they're overqualified for an entry level position. And if they're overqualified for an entry level position, of course, they are not invited for an interview. But the problem is they are also underqualified for a senior position because they do not have the real experience. Only the certifications they will not count. You do not hire a senior engineer because based on a degree, say, I have an engineering degree. Okay, you are not a senior engineer. You need to be a junior engineer. It's exactly the same thing with project management. And why I'm talking about that? Because I've seen people struggling with that, and I get this question: what do I need to start? Well, start learning, start looking for positions. Something else you can do: you can look for the Project Management Institute. Go there, pmi.org. Try to find if there's a local chapter from PMI where you are located. PMI has chapters in most countries in the world. In a lot of countries, they have more than one chapter. So find a chapter there and try to do some volunteer work, because then you're going to get some experience project, then you're going to meet people, you're going to grow your network, you're going to start to develop your skills. That's important. When you do volunteer work, you also can develop a lot of other transferable skills. And again, I'm talking about doing volunteer work because people say, it's easy for you to say you're already working and I need the money. I get it. When I moved to the US, because I moved to the US, I did not have a job there. Of course, I have a visa to go there, but my girlfriend at the time, nowadays my wife, she had a job there. And I say, I'm going to try to make it work here. I'm going to start to look for positions and end up, I got some freelance work there. And the freelance work would not keep me busy full time. And the salary was not good. I could not support myself with the salary that I was making there. So I also started work as a volunteer. I worked as a volunteer for the PMI chapter, for the Portland, Oregon chapter. I worked as a volunteer there for, I believe, 6 or 7 months. Quite nice experience. I helped them to organize the annual conference. We worked with Agile, then we had a Kanban. I was able to attend the conference for free. Okay, I put a lot of work for free also, but the conference itself costed, I believe, at the time $600 for a 2 or 3 day conference. Oh, and also I met people, I enhanced my skills, I had different experience with projects, and I ended up attending a very, very nice conference, seeing a lot of different topics, and I learned a lot in the process. So you can look for the things that you're going to learn as a volunteer. Also, when I was in the US, I was as a volunteer for the American Red Cross. I worked as a volunteer with a lot of a lot of different stuff that they are doing, but they had like a fire alarm campaign that they would install fire alarms in the houses of people for free to try to avoid the risk of fatalities in case of fire. And I've done that also for 8 months. And some of those days I've worked a full day and I did not get paid anything, but I've learned something different things. I was doing something, I was helping people with my time. When you also not only when what you are learning, but once you are putting good into the world, usually you gain something back. The universe helps you, if universe, God, or whatever you want to believe. I'm not going to discuss that here. But if you put good there, the chance that you're going to get good back. So working as a volunteer, it's a great thing that can help you in your career. And what I'm mentioning that because I've seen people that they were not working say, why don't you work as a volunteer? No, because this is not for me. Come on, helping other people is not for you. You should, with this kind of mindset, of course, you're going to have problem finding a job, mainly with project management. Because as a project manager, a lot of times you need to help people. A lot of times there are struggles, there's problems, and you need to help to solve them. Even if you even if you're not the one creating this problem, that does not matter. You're part of the team. And as part of the team, you should face the challenges together. That's not the right mindset saying, yeah, I'm not going to do something. Come on, guys. You don't need to have years of experience. You don't need to have a certification. Again, start learning, start looking for positions, start applying for that. If you have the chance, work as a volunteer. All those things will help you to get there. And it's important that you put yourself out there because honestly, if you do not take action, no one will give you a job. And again, entry level positions are interesting and they are important because there's people in very different stages of their career. But if you have the experience, if you have some experience there, even though if it's not much, leverage that in, while looking for a job. I can tell you, for example, might be you might be like practicing sports. It's if it's a team sport like soccer, like basketball, volleyball. Those kind of things they help you to develop soft skills, and those are transferable skills that you can use with project management. So while you're talking about that, you also can leverage these into your advantage, even though you do not have working experience. But for example, if you play in a team, Maybe you are competing with this team. You can say that I'm competing in this team and we are training, blah blah blah, and you can use that in your advantage. If you have work experience, but even not into project management, use that into your advantage. For example, I would say in a lot of jobs out there, you are using a computer. If you are using a computer, you might know MS Project, you might know PowerPoint, or even other softwares like Power BI, MS Project, Excel, Trello, Jira, maybe SAP, maybe Oracle, maybe a different PLM. PLM, by the way, is Product Lifecycle Management. If you are using those, if you are developing a skill to use a software, uh, that can be something that's a transferable skill that you can leverage on to get a project management position. But also there's other things like I just mentioned, working a team. That's a transferable skill that can help you. Other leadership activities that you do, you might be. I'm not working with project management, but you might have led a team, for example. I don't know. You might coordinating a team to execute an operations team. You might be working with a customer and managing stakeholders. All those type of things you need to leverage there because that's your experience. Is you just need a bit to focus in the right things. But again, look for the right types of position for you. Because I can tell you, if you are going for a more senior position as a project manager, then they are going to start to ask you, what's the size of budget that you mentioned? What's the size of team that you manage? And if you do not have experience, that gets you hard. That gets you in a difficult position. So that's why it's so important that instead of focusing in certifications, focusing in learning project management, for focusing in applying for it, because there's something else. Learning project management, it's not necessarily as the same thing as learning to pass an exam. And I can tell you, let me ask you from your school, your experience in school, university, or whatever, does not mean just because you pass an exam that you learn something. Maybe you can memorize it. There's a lot of tips and tricks, but the focus of passing an exam for a certification, it's different. And it should be different because, for example, for PMP, you have, if I remember well, 180 questions that you have 4 hours to complete it. So you also need to have the right cadence to make sure that you can complete questions in a time box very specific and you can move forward, and you need to be efficient. And the training to be efficient, it's a bit different from the training to develop the concepts that you have in your mind. And the training to identify the right you can also train to help you to identify the right questions in a multiple question answer. So there are different, a kind of a completely different focus. Again, because if you tell me that I'm going to focus in memorize the all the 49 process from the PMBOK 6th edition, because that will help me with the PMP exam or with the CAPM exam. That's fine, but that's what you need right now. And again, I'm not against certification. I have certifications, and I have more than one certification. I have PMP, I have PSPM, I have Lean Six Sigma, and of course, from time to time, I look, okay, maybe I'm going to plan to do something else in my career. But those certifications, they are building on in my CV because they are complementing my skill set and help me to grow as a professional. So they need to be planned in a way that makes sense for your career, not just completely ad hoc. Say, I'm going to do a certification because I've seen people talking about, I'm going to do a PSM certification. Yes, where do you want to work? I want to work with construction. Yeah, that's not going to help you. it might even get in your way because in the construction, the most used framework is still waterfall. And if you come back say, my Scrum Masters, yeah, but yeah, fine, but we do not use that here. Can also work the other way around. If you have a PMP certification and you are trying to work with software development, in some countries they are saying, that's not what we are looking for. We are looking for someone that has more knowledge in Scrum, then your PMP certification will kind of not help you that much to get this kind of position. So what you need to do there is not jumping on from certifications saying what kind. There's a lot of certifications there. You have PMI, you have Scrum.org, you have Scrum Allies, you have Prince, you have IPM, Institute of Project Management, you have SAFE, and this is just what I remember now, but I know there's much more out there. So, looking for a bunch of certifications, there's a lot of certifications for everything. So, you need to plan your career and need to plan the certifications that make sense there. Of course, if I would have to recommend, I always recommend certification from PMI, Project Management Institute, because it's the biggest and most known project management institution around the world. And of course, depending on what you're working on, if you want to develop with Scrum, I'll also recommend scrum.org. But all the certifications, they need to be part of a career plan. They cannot be something ad hoc. They're completely standalone that does not talk and does not make sense. But what's important that you need to plan the certification in your career at some point. But if you're starting right now, that's not your focus. Your focus again, I've already repeated I don't know how many times just in this video. Your focus start learning project management. What do I mean by learning project management? Oh, learn different frameworks. Learn what's PMBOK. What's what is in the PMBOK. Learn waterfall. Learn agile. Learn lean management. Very important, very used everywhere from manufacturing, from services, and all types of organization need and use lean. Learn finance. If you want to manage a business case, you need to learn finance. Those are the basics that you need to understand there. So don't tell me that you are going to go for a certification if you do not know anything about project management. Because but I need it to get a job. No, I can bet with you that you can start to apply. You can start to apply to for jobs right away. Going to LinkedIn, I'm not sure where you're watching these, but I can tell you in Europe and the US, the most common way to find positions is at LinkedIn. Most of stuff there. Go on LinkedIn, start to look for job descriptions, look for things that can fit your profile, that and start to apply for that. If you do not apply, you are not going to get it. That's something I can guarantee you 100%. So again, start learning project management, start to applying for positions, and also if you have the chance, do some volunteer work with project management related organizations. PMI is just one example. There you might be several project management organizations around the world. You might know someone and you might want to go for there. But again, volunteer work should also not hold you back to apply for positions. Invest some time every day, 10, 15 minutes every day to learn something, some concepts in project management, and also try to find a position per day and try to apply it. If you start to do that, I can guarantee to you that in 1 or 2 months you're going to get a job there. Or even might be taking longer depending how you're applying because also you need to know how to prepare a CV, you need to prepare for interviews and so on. But I can guarantee that if you start to do that and you start to learn and build on your knowledge for CVs, for interviews, and for project management, I can guarantee that you can get a job there. You just need to have the right mindset, start taking initiative, start learning, and start to apply for that. If you like this content, please click in the button like here, share with other people that might be interested on. I'm always sharing content on YouTube, but I very I share daily content on Instagram, small posts with some small project management knowledge, something that you can digest in a few minutes per day, at least to help you to go into the right direction. So if you're interested in that, please also follow my Instagram account. There I also have Q&A. You can always ask Q&A in the stories every day. The Q&A box is always open. And if you have questions and if you have comments, just write down here. I'm going to do my best to answer everything that I get here. Again, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the content